Alrighty, riddle me this. Why does this $999 wireless mic kit from Saramonic cost almost double, say the DJI Mic 3 kit at around $400, or this, the Mic Mini cut down kit without the charging case, it comes in a cute little bag, around $70, or one of those really cheap and cheerful $12 things that you see on Amazon? I mean, they're all just mics, right? Take the Arri Alexa 35, amazing camera, and then compare this on paper to a Sony FX6. The price difference is considerable, yet they are both big professional cameras. They have lots of ports. They offer the same kind of resolution, similar frame rates, and both produce beautiful images. But the Arri Alexa is 10, maybe 15 times more expensive. Same question for microphones. Why is a $1,000 wireless mic kit ever going to be a good deal? So now here's where a lot of people get tripped up. On paper, consumer, prosumer, and professional gear can look very similar. Two cameras, both shoot 4K. Two microphones, both record your voice. And two tripods, well, they hold your camera. You get the idea. But what the differences come down to a lot of the time is build, durability, and workflow. How much stress it can take before it craps out and ruins your shoot. Spoiler, it is usually at the worst possible time. You get the nice hard Pelican case to put it all in, which is a double level one to fit it all in. Two XLR to 3.5mm jacks, all with the jacks having the locking mechanism where you screw it down. USB-C to USB-C cable, 3.5 to 3.5mm jack with one end having the locking thing. Batteries for it all. A USB-C to USB-A converter. A bunch of these rubber chips which go on the receiver and the transmitter. A couple of metal clips that go on the back of the transmitters. This handy little plastic plate for the receiver so that you can mount it to the hot shoe of your camera. And last but not least, the box with the lavs and the little accessories in it. It's quite hard, nice and durable. Gonna keep those lavs nice and safe. Furry wind muffs. These little tiny, like smaller wind screen type things, clips for the lav mics, and of course the lavs themselves. These all come with lockable 3.5mm jack, so this bit screws down in there, prevents it from being pulled off in a pinch. The cables are all Kevlar reinforced, and if you look on their website, I'll try and put some clips up, they can lift dumbbells. They're also IP65 rated, means they're waterproof essentially. I've seen them swizzling around in beer. And the capsule on these mics, let me tell you, is the tiniest I've ever seen. It's compared to something like the Rode Wireless Pro, where they're absolutely smackingly huge. These will be no problem hiding on people. Also in my kit, I like to keep things like this, Velcro. And also these little lav capsules, which just work wonders for when you're trying to mic up your talent under their shirt. See, this is a 3D printed thing. It has a little like wire around one end. The microphone, or the capsule of the microphone lav goes in here. And that way, this little round circle keeps it off, keeps the shirt away from the microphone when it's under the shirt, and this side, you just stick to either them or stick to the inside of the shirt. So now looking at all of these kits and just looking at the core of it, they're basically all very similar. They come with two transmitters, one receiver to connect to your camera, and that's basically all you need to get good clean audio. Now, as far as similarities go, that is basically it. That is where it stops. And it may surprise you that this guy, the Saramonic K9, the more expensive of all the ones we're looking at today, is the only one that does not have a built-in mic on the transmitter. And even more surprisingly is the fact that the quality of these mics compared to, say, something that you would get out of the DJI mics or the Rode mics is not really that much different. Okay, so this is now the audio that is coming direct from the DJI Mic Mini. I've got the transmitter in exactly the same place as I had the lavalier for the K9. How do you reckon it sounds? And then as a final comparison, this is the audio from my Sennheiser MKE 600 going into my FX3 via the XLR top handle. How does this sound? This should be technically the better of all the mics. Strangely, the quality of the microphone is not what's pushing that price up. So what is it? One of the main big differences between something like the K9 and the cheaper mics is the Wireless Go or the DJI mics all have built-in batteries, whereas the K9, if we look here, look, uses AAs. Now, when I first started out, I saw anything that used AAs as being a downside. I thought that was, you know, oh, it looks kind of like cheap, like a children's toy. Look at these fancy lithium-ion built-in battery ones. You realize after a while that having a built-in battery is fine if you're just making casual vlog style content where you have enough battery life to last you for what you need to be shooting and plenty of time before and afterwards if you need to charge it. Whereas on set or on a professional gig, you cannot be running out of battery and then suddenly being like, hey guys, should we just pause a minute? Let's take an hour or so while I charge my batteries in the battery case here. Add to the fact that with built-in batteries, they can't be changed. So over time, battery life will degrade. With these AA batteries, every time they're used, you just put in a new pair. The battery life stays exactly the same. Another big difference is storage. For example, a lot of the things like the DJI mics and the Rode Wireless Go have some kind of internal storage where it can be transmitting to your camera, but it can also be storing itself on the transmitter. And that's fine, that's great. But on here, right behind the batteries, it's kind of hard to see this here, there is an SD card slot. It's got bigger storage. I think you can store up to 256 gigabytes on one of these cards in here. And then slide it out, put it in your computer, and the files just go off. Sometimes things, for example, the Rode Wireless Pro, we used this on a short film we shot recently, and it was more of a pain than if we just used something like this. Rode has a weird thing where they like to have their own proprietary software. We had to plug it in and then download the Rode, whatever it is, app onto my MacBook to then be allowed to access the files. I couldn't just drag them straight off. Also, for my American viewers, it is worth keeping in mind that due to a patent in America that is currently there, the American version is not able to record in the 32-bit flow at the same time as transmitting wirelessly to a camera or to a recorder. If you are anywhere else but America, like me, good to go. We can record and transmit at the same time, but apparently, so I heard through the grapevine, that patent should be running out this year. So at worst, you'd have a couple of months and then it would be back to normal. So I hear. Just worth keeping in mind if you're buying these in the US. Right, so after all of that, you'd think that was the majority of the difference is done. Those are not even the biggest difference between them all. The biggest difference being that all of the prosumer ones use 2.4 gigahertz as their wireless frequency they all operate on. It's really logical and it makes a lot of sense. You can see why manufacturers use it. It is a well-developed technology that is cheap and simple to manufacture. The problem lies in the fact that because it is so readily available, it means that every device in your home and in your life will use the same thing. Bluetooth, anything Bluetooth will use the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth. Anything like your wireless internet home uses 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth. And that is fine for the most part, but it means if you're in a busy area, there's maybe lots of, maybe a busy office setting, maybe you're at like some kind of convention and there's lots of other people all making videos and all using a multitude of different devices, the signals can get clogged up, or you can get interference or just straight up lose the signal. Now these guys, the K9, why they have this big floppy area on the top here is because these are UHF, ultra high frequency, and that means that they have a much wider bandwidth of frequencies that they can choose from, and even they will automatically scan when you're in an area. You can choose to scan and it will scan all the frequencies that are nearby and choose the one which gets the strongest signal. So connectivity, if You need the show to keep going on. You're working in a professional environment. You do not want to have to stop because its signal keeps dropping out. You get better signal with UHF in general because it is a lot better at piercing through walls. It's a lot better with if the receiver is facing away from the camera. A lot of the time with, say, like a Wireless Go or one of the DJI mics, it's fine if you're in line of sight, but as soon as if you were to turn around and the transmitter is out of sight, there's a high chance it will cut out. Not always, and I know with the DJI Mic 3, they're improving the connectivity issues, but still, with a UHF, you will get a lot better penetration. Now, remember when I said about these ones, the K9 being the only ones that doesn't have a built-in mic on the actual transmitter, and the transmitter, you know, it's a little bit bigger. And that's for a good reason. Because there is never in a professional setting, there is never any Hollywood movie, any documentary, any drama that you would see generally where you will have the mic pinned in the shot. I'll take this battery for example. Here's a Sony battery, but it's of a similar size, at least height-wise, for one of these transmitters. And you'll see people walking around, and it's just like here on the front of their shirt. It's got some flashing lights on there. It A, wouldn't look good, and B, it would be distracting. Now you can do all sorts of things. I've seen people put tape over them, like the gaff tape over them, so that you don't see the lights. But generally, you do not want them in the shot. So you would want to lav, and you would want to lav them good and in a discreet way. So now, the closest competitor for the Saramonic K9 isn't any of the 2.4 GHz systems, and it isn't the Hollywood level ones, which are way, way above it, but also 10, 15 times the price. So the nearest competitor has to be the Deity Theos wireless mic kit. They almost look the same. They both have the very similar looking Pelican kits, and the kits themselves also look very similar. Kind of like someone's copied somebody else's homework here, but there's a few things which I think makes the Saramonic K9 way better. Saramonic K9, $999. Deity Theos is $1,279, so that's a significant saving. Also, the transmitter and receiver combination. The receiver on the Saramonic K9 has a top screen, so if you have it in an audio bag and just looking down on it, you can see the audio levels quickly and easily on the two. Just with that little tiny screen makes a big difference. Also, the fact that the Deity Theos' mic capsule is a sizable amount more than that tiny, ridiculously small capsule on the Saramonic K9. Just something to keep in mind when you're shopping around. All right, so there you go, the Saramonic K9. What did you guys think? Hit me up in the comments down below. My personal thoughts, yes, it's not the very top end, the Hollywood professional level end of the pro gear, but it is, if you're an indie filmmaker like myself who has come from using DJI mics on the Rode Wireless Pro, it is a massive step up for the durability, the reliability, the consistency, and all of the stuff I've mentioned in this video. It is not for everybody though. If you're just a casual content creator just trying to make some quick and easy vlogs, upload some YouTube videos, some TikTok stuff, this is probably a little bit too much hassle for you. So it's definitely got to be that indie filmmaker, sort of like enthusiastic hobbyist who this is aimed at. It's exactly the reason why I still bought the DJI Mic Mini like cut down kit that came without it came with chargers, but not with the charging case, because I don't really need it as often. I wanted this for like something like this DJI Mic Mini, just for when we're doing, or I'm doing, sorry, some casual vloggy type stuff, and when it's more professional on-set stuff, and when I'm doing actual like short films and stuff. The K9 is the hero for indie filmmakers. So it's either for you or it's not. It'll depend on where you're at. You need to ask yourself, like you do with any piece of gear, ask yourself the right questions. Is this gonna save me time or make me money? Essentially, these things are both the same anyway. Is it gonna help improve my workflow? Is it something that I don't need right now and I can just rent in the future? Or is it just, you know, like something I want rather than something I need? Ask yourself all the right questions. Don't go wasting money on stuff that you don't need just because you wanna look professional. Get the things which are suitable for you. Or if you've got tons of money, you don't have to care. Go crazy, buy it all. Red Komodo and as much expensive equipment as possible. Until next time, anyway, guys, peace.